Hi, everyone. This is
Thanks.
Steve Delasan, and welcome to this week's edition of CEOs You Should Know. I am thrilled to be joined by Trevor Prashad, the CEO of OIBortho, a division of OrthoNJ. Trevor, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Of course, we're excited to jump in to learn more about you and the organization. So why don't we kick it off and learn more about yourself? So I know you spent over 25 years in healthcare administration on a wide range of specialties, everything from different pivotal moments and decisions that happened along the way. What were some of the ones that stood out the most that really shaped the leader you are today?
It's there's little pieces throughout my career that have basically molded me to be the person that I am, and there are areas where of growth that have kind of led me to kind of keep expanding and doing more, looking for more, building more, and then bringing that to whoever I'm working for at the time. So, there isn't one specific piece. It's just, a little piece throughout the career. And then with the industry changes, we've adapted to that. So
That's
these
awesome.
all helped.
Yeah, it's a great mindset. Obviously, the experience, and then
Yep.
obviously the adaptation too.
Sure.
So I know you worked across orthopedics, pain management, and beyond. How has that diverse experience really led you to help lead this large multi-specialty organization?
At the end of the day, it's all healthcare.
Yep.
So, looking at all the aspects of healthcare and touching on pieces of the healthcare, they do, overlap in certain areas. And especially when it comes to the MSK portion, you've got your pain management, you've got your physical therapy, chiropractic, the orthopedic surgery itself. There's a lot that ties in. And basically, the model that's been created, it's a full circle where basically, somebody identifies their pain areas, their injuries, whatever it might be. We see it full circle till they're back on the feet, 100% fully recovered. So all of these aspects have kind of really benefited the patient in general, but also as knowledge-wise,
Absolutely.
it's actually helped us.
It's a great POV. I know that you've been involved in joint ventures with hospital systems to private equity. How have those experiences helped evolve the way that you think about growing independence within the healthcare space?
It's, looking at this, the industry has changed drastically, over the years. So, working and looking at the joint ventures that are out there, looking at the model and the changes that are happening right
Hmm.
now and the direction that this is leading into. We're trying to stay ahead of the times with OrthoNJ as an independent physician practice and entity. We are staying clear of the joint ventures. Now, in previous and other jobs that I have done, we have done joint ventures, and it has been successful. And there's certain reasons why it's done. And looking at that, some practices like OrthoNJ don't have the need to do that or the desire to do that. So it's really dependent on the direction that they want to head into, and what they're looking for at the end of the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that as a CEO, you wear a lot of different hats, right? So I know
Yes.
you've described yourself as a fireman, a psychiatrist, a daredevil, an instigator, a referee. Which of these roles do you find yourself playing the most? And how do you balance all of them effectively?
The top one, I would probably say the fireman. There's constantly fires going out on every level. You look at the board level, you look at the front desk level, and there's always some type of drama that's happening. And thank God I have a great support team as far as administrative staff, and I'll kind of work with them if they can't handle it on their own. We jump in and help them out, but for the most part, they handle it. But it's interesting when you think you've seen it all. There's
Something else
always,
happens.
always happening. So
Yeah, I agree. And it's great to have a great team around you to help put out some of those fires,
100%
right?
couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we touched on this a little bit, but healthcare, it's ever evolving, right? And it happens at a very fast pace. How do you decide when to take calculated risks on new technology or different services when you know that stuff's constantly changing?
So I guess everyone's talking about AI these
Of
days,
course.
right? It's the hot topic. It's everywhere you turn. It's AI this, AI
Yep.
that. They're implemented in the simplest of programs and the most complex. It's one of those features where you kind of have to look to see what your goal is, where your deficiencies are within the practice or that department, and see if AI can play a part, and then look at the options that are out there as
Sure.
far as AI solutions. It's one of those things that hopefully have something that's been vetted, but since it's pretty new to the industry, there's not a whole lot of,
Yeah.
huge companies out there that are doing this, like a Microsoft at a healthcare level. So you basically have to take that chance. At the end of the day, you're looking for, is it a solution that's working? Is it a solution that could be customized to your practice?
Yep.
Does it help your patients? What's the patient feedback? What's the staff feedback? So there are a lot of areas where it's an experimental stage. This
Yeah.
is it's very early in the game, and fortunately, I'm one of those guys that like to take that chance and look at all the options that we have.
Absolutely.
And we've come across some really good options, and I'm happy with direction that we're heading in.
That's great. Staying on that topic of technology,
Sure.
and some stuff that's new, what has been an innovation that you took the risk on and it had a really great positive impact on the organization?
So the latest one that we have done is, the call center. The call center is our front line. And we have tried two solutions, and I ran them side by side, to kind of
Smart.
say, hey, let's see what's going on. One was vetted within the industry and endorsed by some of the orthopedic associations. Another one was a newcomer that, had a couple of clients, had done some work with CVS and some other, large companies, but wasn't in the orthopedic arena.
Sure.
Came across my table, had a meeting with him. 2 hours later, we said, hey, let's set up another meeting. And, we ran his AI against the other company. And the problem is a lot of these AI solutions, it's an out-of-the-box solution, right? You get what you pay for. They do slight customization. This other guy, basically, he is still working on it 7 days a week, customized the tea out of it, and has really provided a robust solution that is still growing. So it hasn't ended. I'm inviting him to come into our office personally and kind of look at other workflows, see where he can build AI. He has a small team, but they're eager, they're hungry,
That's great.
and they're looking to really make a footprint in the orthopedic arena.
That's awesome. Love to see that it was successful too.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely.
Obviously, being part of one of the largest independent orthopedic groups in New Jersey, what do you see as your long-term vision in sustaining growth while obviously still maintaining that really high quality for all of your patients?
So, we're looking to get the name out there.
Sure.
OrthoNJ is not a recognized name, even though it is the largest independent orthopedic practice in New Jersey. It's, in the top, I would say probably top 10 to 15 largest in the U.S.
Wow.
So it has that type of footprint. It is not looking to go, into any joint venture or private equity, as I had mentioned. So the growth model is to keep that growing, to give physician groups the opportunity to join us and remain independent and not succumb to the pressure of becoming a joint venture.
Sure.
Or joining a hospital system or, selling out and being acquired. So the growth model is to keep that going. At the same time, we want to keep the high level of patient care because we are not controlled by the hospital systems, or it's not a financial model that, is being flipped by a private equity. So we can provide the patient care that the physician wants to control, and the physician directs that patient care. And that's the difference. It's not dictated by an entity that does not know the orthopedic arena. It's dictated by the orthopedic surgeon.
That's great.
It's phenomenal. Patient wins. They love it, and
They refer someone else because they had an amazing experience.
Yep. And we get family members and generational family members coming to the practice.
That's great. Well, I think I know someone that could help you get the word out too. So
Great. Thank you.
we can chat on that.
Sure.
But looking at your organization versus some other competitors within the marketplace, what are some of the things that stand out to you that makes you different?
So like I had mentioned, it's that patient care, right? We have a different model, especially for our division. A lot of these orthopedic practices, they push the physician assistant as the primary caretaker in a sense.
Yep.
The surgeon is behind the scenes, but We are mostly, physician first, and the physician assistant is truly a physician assistant.
That's great.
So the level of the patient care that's provided is extremely high. I honestly have not seen it in my 25 years at a level at this high.
That's great. I know that with the healthcare administration, there's often constant problem solving. We talked about earlier,
Yes.
obviously, being that fireman and putting out the fires. What has been one of the most challenging situations you faced as a CEO, and how did you navigate through it?
So one of the most challenging situations, and I can't say that it's successfully, complete. It's a work in progress. Is working with the partners in the board.
Mm-hmm.
On our board, we currently have, and this is on the divisional board, we have 20 partners.
Wow.
When you go to the OrthoNJ, it's two partners per division plus administration. So there's a lot of politics on both of these levels.
Of course.
And you're trying to make footsteps and strides and going forward, and the growth models and given your experience out there, but because of the personalities, you kind of face these conflicts. So it's been a challenge kind of breaking through to the board for them to kind of see and understand, and
Sure.
and even sometimes to get a listening voice.
Yep.
Have I done it successfully in certain portions? We've gotten some billboards out there which have definitely shown that we're getting the OrthoNJ name out there. And then on a divisional level, we've kind of recreated our local brand in a sense as far as our logo and the name of the practice. But it is still work in progress. There's so many pieces and layers to this that it's a never-ending battle. But it's a fun battle.
Step by step. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like you're making positive progress. So looking forward to continuing to watch that.
Definitely. Thank you.
Then I know sometimes, obviously, playing that role of the fireman, there can be chaos. How do you shield the rest of the team from that chaos on the day-to-day and keeping them motivated and leaned in and engaged?
So it's a political play where, I kind of, would step in, take control of a situation. I would deal with it to the best of my ability on my own with not involving my administrative team if possible. Unfortunately, most of these situations,
Of course.
I do have to bring them in. I may not bring in all the players, but I will select, a handful of the ones that I do need to kind of support and get this accomplished so we can move forward. So, there's really not a whole lot that I can do when it comes to these fires on my own. I do need their support.
Makes sense.
And because of the magnitude of some of these events and projects that we're doing, it's a necessity. So,
Yep, absolutely.
yeah. So the shielding part is difficult.
I hear you. Trust me.
It's a challenge.
I get it. I always love to ask this question for everybody that comes on the podcast. If you were to give yourself advice before you got into the healthcare industry, and if someone is tuning in is thinking about becoming a leader or taking that leap within the field, what advice would you wish you knew then that you would love to give people now?
Always believe in yourself, right? We always beat ourselves up, and we always never give ourselves the opportunity thinking that we can actually get something accomplished. And sometimes it takes that leap of faith of basically saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to try this out. I've never done a podcast before, especially at this level. And, it's coming in and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to try it out, and so it's really putting yourself first and thinking that, thinking the best of yourself in any situation. You're not going to win all the time. You're not going to, you are going to hit bumps in the road, but it's okay. Each bump is a learning curve, so accept it, use it as a model, as a mold to build yourself and make you stronger and more knowledgeable in what you do, and never give up. It's like always keep pushing, keep learning, keep striving for more. It's a battle that we deal with that never ends. So we never should be content with where we are.
Yep, I love that. That's great advice. I think so many people sometimes psych themselves out before they even try it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah,
love that mindset. So what's next? What's next for OIB Ortho, right? And is there any exciting developments or news on the horizon that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, we're always on the growth model. We want to be at the cutting edge of technology. We want to provide our patients with the best level of care always. We're constantly hiring new physicians. We're looking into new specialties. We do want to bring rheumatology and board into OIB Ortho. We do have new buildings under construction.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. It's a constant, always looking for the next step. And the thing is, we are always looking, so it's not, like I said, we're not content.
Yep,
Right. So we're
absolutely.
pushing forward always and the more we can get out there in the community and expand our horizons and expand the services that we offer, the more we can provide to the local public.
That's great. I know we covered a lot, but if there's one last thing you want everyone tuning in to know the mission of the organization, what would that be?
Patient care first and the relentless pursuit of that care. We provide the highest level of care, like I said, that I've seen in a very long time. It is patient driven 100%. It's dictated by the orthopedic specialists. It is, catered around orthopedic needs. So, I encourage all the orthopedic surgeons that are out there to keep pushing, providing that level of care. We're facing very high challenges with the insurance premiums going up. It's becoming more and more costly for, the patients. It's becoming less rewarding for the physicians. And we have to keep striving for more, keep on pushing more. If we've got to take it to the Capitol Hill and push legislation to kind of fight back, in a sense, to keep patient and healthcare where it is, because it is slowly being chipped away and it's becoming more and more difficult on all different levels.
Yep. Well, that's a great something to be proud of. First of all, right? To be very proud of that organization, and that's a great mission to have for everyone as well. So, last question for
Sure.
anyone that's tuning in that wants to learn more, what should they do? What is the first step?
First up is get your foot in the door in healthcare. It's as simple as that. I started from the bottom in the billing department, many years ago. And, you learn the system. And I've always, I've proctored many, students that are, going to university, taking master programs, even their bachelor's. And I've always told them, I'm like, get your foot in the door. Start, don't be too proud of the position that you take. Get to learn the business. The more you know and understand, the more valuable you become. That billing background made huge leaps and bounds in my career.
Yeah.
So it's climbing that ladder, never giving up, believing in yourself, and keep on giving everything that you have. It's all about like what you're willing to put in. That's what you get out of it. So strive, push, and then watch it blossom.
I love that. I said last question, but this is my last question. I apologize. If
Sure.
someone wanted to learn more about OBI Ortho, what should they do?
They can come to our website, oibortho.com, or we have orthonj.org. They are free to call the offices. You can call and ask for Trevor. You can, my staff are very accommodating. And if there's anything that I can ever do to help anyone to pursue their career, get the foot in the door, I'm absolutely open doors at all times.
That's awesome. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you, Steve.
Thank you for sharing your background and, of course, more about the organization. A lot of stuff you should be proud of and excited to see what's next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you all for tuning in for this week's edition of See You Should Know. Tune in next week.